hard, they hate it, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball, I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say, I got them picking up the pieces. That mean you really playing with your life, I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous. Please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Ay, I can never let up even if you had enough. Ay, this ain't for the faint of heart, we always playing rough. I had enough, it ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to beat a submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash in the distance, they coming off track, no. Now when they ask what's the motive, don't talk about the show. They all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling, they already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous.
Yeah. Salute, ATP. What's good? Yeah, man, I love that. Clap it up one more time. This is going to be a good one. This game's going to be a good one. They're all good ones, but this one's going to be an extra good one, extra special one. Salute to everybody who's in the building, man. Yeah, it can get dangerous, man. Shout out to the people out there betting on themselves. You know what I mean? It's not an easy game to play out here in this crazy world we're living in, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to the people who out here living dangerous, because a lot of us are choosing to live safe, and we're letting our dreams sit in the backgrounds, and we're playing it quote unquote safe, right? Living life unfulfilled, going to our graves with no answers to the questions, you know what I mean? And what's the question? You know what I mean? Did you achieve your potential? Did you make the sacrifices that needed to be made in order for you to get there, right? So shout out to the to the song the music for the show. It rubs me in my heart, because for real, gambling on yourself, betting on yourself, being slept on, you know, not everybody can resonate. I think everybody can resonate with that, but not everybody can resonate to facing that head on and still going against adversity, against all odds, and still achieving your goals in spite, I emphasize, in spite of your detractors. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the people who can do that, man. Boxing's in a great space. It is fight week, ladies and gentlemen. So I know we're all excited. We're heading into probably the biggest fight weekend I've seen in a long time, when the combination of Pro Box on Friday, Saturday, we got multiple events from the morning time with Bakram and Josh Kelly. Going into the evening, we got two huge mega cards. One of them, SHAKUR Stevenson, TEOFIMO Lopez, and that whole crazy undercard. And of course, shout out to Xander Zayas and what he's about to go do, defending his title and unifying on his first title defense. These are the kind of fighters you got to get behind, the people who have the heart to move with that, gambling on themselves, putting it all online, all for the idea of being great, legacy, right? Going for greatness, daring to be great, as a wise man once said. News in the space, Christian Mbili, news comes out this morning that the WBC's gone ahead and elevated Christian Mbili to WBC champion at 168 for the super middleweight division. So I guess Mauricio got tired of waiting. That's how that goes. He's the champion now in the conversation. We know Diego Pacheco and Hamza Shiraz may be, I believe on Friday, getting ready to go into a bid for that WBO title, vacant title, or whatever have you. Diego Pacheco no longer with Matchroom, right? New management. Looking forward to see what Diego Pacheco's getting ready to do as well. What other news has come out? Frank Sanchez, Richard Torres announced it looks like they're going to be on the undercard of Fundora and Keith Thurman as well. They'll be, Sebastian Fundora will be defending his title in that situation. Other news in the heavyweight division, since we're already there as well, Daniel Dubois reconciles with Don Charles. He's back, guys. He left. He didn't like what was going on with Tony Sims. I don't know what the story is. I'm sure Talk Sport in the UK will interview Daniel Dubois, and we'll get the lowdown on that. But look, he says that he's actively looking at potentially fighting Zhilei Zhang next, but really got his eyes on Ajit Caballo. Daniel Dubois, Ajit Caballo. That sounds like good stuff right there, man. All good stuff. And other things going on. Deontay Wilder, Derek Chisora, looks like they're about to be finalizing things as well. But I know why you guys are here. So I don't want to hold you guys up. I know why you guys are here. You know I got to give you the whole entire, catch you up as much as I can on what's going on in space. But we are here for the same reason, right? We got a special guest here in the building today. First of all, let me go ahead and bring up my co-host, Angelo Reyes, in the building. Angelo. What's goody? They hate, they love you, man. I don't know which one it is. Which one's worse? It's one or the other, right? What is it?
As long as you're living your best life, man, we're all good with it. So excited this week, bro. Like, I can't even remember a time when we had Boxing Friday, Boxing Saturday, and then boxing on a Sunday, bro. What a perfect way for CBS Paramount Plus to fill in the gap of no NFL, right? They were promoting the hell out of their brand with Combat Sports Weekend on all the football games. Congratulations to the Patriots making it to the Super Bowl again. And CBS was really, I'm just finally happy that all these fighters are getting a chance to see the possibilities of what it is again to become an American superstar if you're with a promotional group and a brand who's willing to promote you on regular free access TV. So very excited about that, Clay. Very excited.
No, 100%, man. And so funny because shout out to Ness in the Boxing Voice. I was on there early today with Ness, and it seems to be my morning spot nowadays. I'm over there building with those guys, and of course, we're talking all about boxing. But who pops up on the channel but Robert Garcia? Robert Garcia, Trainer of the Year candidate, to say the least. Trainer of the Year last year, but this year we'll see.
I got him as my Trainer of the Year for 2025.
Yeah, so. Me too as well. But at the end of the day, he pops up on the show, and what is he talking about? Of course, he's talking about Raymond Moratala, who just defeated Andy Cruz, of course. Questions about Virgil Ortiz, of course, Bam Rodriguez, of course. But what's the main topic? End up being the lion's share of the topic.
Zuffa boxing, baby.
Right? You can't get around it. I know they were hating us so long because it seemed so out of place. Really hating you, let's be honest.
Right. Well, no. But can we just say, and this is the time where we get to take credit. Before it even all got signed, we were the first ones to always say, hey, you know what? If Dana White would get involved in boxing and he gave us a format just like he does with the UFC, this thing would all work, right? And then the Turkey Al Sheikh announcement happens, right? And then we're really on them. We're really saying, hey, we could see this being a possibility. Imagine the possibility of this. And then, Clay, when that CBS Paramount deal happened, we were very heavy on it. We were like, oh, man, how can this not work now, right? And this is rolling into the new year. So we were kind of deemed, I know you were, in the space, in the community. Everybody kept calling you the official Zuffa boxing correspondent and ambassador. But all we were doing, and again, this is what we do at ATP Combat Media, is we want to let you guys know the truth, right? Especially if you're a casual fan, you're going to want to come to the channel because we're just going to give you facts. We're not going to give you emotional opinions. We're just going to say, here's what's happening. If you want to catch up, I can
get a little emotional times.
I'm
not going to lie to you. I have my moments. Bear with me, people. It's a work in progress. But go ahead.
Well, we are human. But the point being that when we saw how Zuffa was doing it, and again, guys, to be fair, because I'd worked with the UFC before, I knew a lot of these things already. So in all fairness to everybody else, it wasn't like I didn't know how these fighters were going to get treated or who the players were that were coming in. And but now that it's all coming to fruition, it's just funny how everybody else is having to turn around, including Robert Garcia, who talked about his brother Mikey Garcia and how he had been treated throughout his career. Robert Garcia talking about the 20 fighters that he has currently right now.
20 plus
fighters. Yeah, 20 and more fighters that he has right now, all wanting to go to Zuffa. And I got to throw this one out, Clay. You said, if nothing else, Zuffa Boxing will raise the money for all the fighters. What happens with Bam Rodriguez? Zuffa Boxing sends him an offer, and by right and law, Matchroom had to at least match it because of first right of refusal. So whatever that offer is, I'm sure took Bam's stock for money even higher, just by Zuffa simply going, we're going to give you a couple million more. and then Matchroom has to match it. So I'm just happy.
No, 100%, man. And we seen the first Zuffa event roll out last Friday. Shout out, congratulations, Julian Rodriguez, a recipient of over $150,000 or at $150,000 of bonus money, performance incentive money that he got, not to mention whatever he got paid. Shout out to Robert Merriweather.
Yeah. Can you remember a time, Clay? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll let you go. Can you remember a time that that any 6-rounder gets that much money? Go ahead about Robert Merriweather.
No. But yeah, just going on this to say shout out to those guys who benefited from that pay structure, pay model. You know what I mean? That incentive model that they have over there. But we're about to roll into the second one, man. They're not wasting any time, following right back up. We're going into Friday. Zuffa 2. We know headlined by Rayo Venezuela, and I can't remember right now off the top of my head who he's facing.
Yeah, he's Diego Torres. There you go.
Right. Diego Torres. Yeah. And of course, a great card. This card right here, definitely way more stacked. You know what I'm saying? They're going harder this time around. But we have one of the fighters here, you know what I'm saying, been here before. Him and his father's been on the show separate times, where it's a blessing this time. We got them both on here at the same damn time. I can't wait to see how this dynamic works. You know what I'm saying? We got the son that's grown now. You know what I'm saying? Doing his thing. And then we got the father, you know what I'm saying? Who's a trainer / manager / father / everything. I just can't wait to see how these guys get in together. I'm going to go ahead and bring them up, bro. I'm not going to even waste another moment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Shout out to Jalil Hackett, Bernard Hackett in the building. Salute. Salute. And let me say this correctly. Coach. Shout out to Coach Bernard Hackett, you know what I'm saying? And his fighter, you know what I'm saying, contender, Jalil Hackett in the building. Let's do that the right way. Let's do that the right way. Let's not do it the other way. Let's do it the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Now, real quick, let's not forget, Clay, El Negro Mexicano. His fighter, Jalil Hackett.
That part. We got to bear with us, guys. Bear with us. He's going to get it right. When it's all said and done, he's going to get it right, I promise you. All right? Right? It's a marathon, not a race. How you guys doing today, man?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. We had a hell of a camp. It's fight week. So, we just excited for what the future holds.
No doubt. Coach Hackett, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, my brother. I'm doing good, man. How you all doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing real good. Boxing is in a good space, man. A lot of stuff going on in boxing. So I'm in the content creation space for the sport. So I'm in a great place. You know what I mean? But
I was going to say, I'm very excited that you guys are finally going to be here in Las Vegas tomorrow. Excited to have you guys. Welcome to the town.
We got a phone call. We'll be in. Yeah.
That's Jalil's having an issue. All right. Right off the bat, I think that it's amazing, and I want to get your take on this, Coach Hackett. So the fights on Sunday, which we're used to doing football, starts at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And the main event of that prime time happens to be Jalil Hackett, right? Because really, if you think about it, the first 3 hours is going to be from 6 to 9. So about 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific time, we're going to have Jalil Hackett fighting a 10-rounder. I can't think of a time, honestly, that he was like in that space, and more importantly, it's going to be going to 7.18 million households. That's insane. How do you feel about that, Coach Hackett?
Blessed. That's all you can feel. You can feel blessed. I think it's hundreds, thousands of fighters that are fighting globally, and for us to get that opportunity, I think we're blessed. Definitely want to thank Dana White and his team, that whole TKO group, Turkey Al-Sheikh, everybody that's involved in making this happen. I want to humbly say thank you, because, like I said, they could have picked anybody, but they chose us.
No doubt, no doubt. Jalil, I mean, the same question to you, obviously, but and I'll add to it, and I'll say, if you guys even want to go back and forth and just kind of like give us a little bit of a inside, on the ground version of what it was when they reached out to you. How did that look like? I mean, and also what stood out about the approach? What stood out about the offer that just made it make sense for what you guys are trying to do? Because everybody has their own reason, right, for how they're moving. You got a game plan for your career. What stuck out that kind of resonated and aligned with your goals that made this sound like the most logical, practical next move to make for your career?
First I want to start off by thanking, Dana and the Turk for, even making any of this happen. They've been talking about it for a while, but for them to actually bring it into a reality is unreal. And I appreciate them guys for making me one of the fighters that they reached out to, because there's a lot of fighters that, really wanted the opportunity but didn't get it. But as far as the situation and how it played out, as you guys know, I was with Matchroom all the way up until my loss back in December. We had a rematch scheduled for March of 2025, but things happen. End up getting canceled due to injury. And after that we were in kind of a limbo situation to where we didn't really know what was next. Ring Magazine partnered up with Box Raw, put together the sparring that they had the same weekend of the Zepeda Stevenson fight card. And we went out there, participated in the sparring. We got chose to fight on the Bud Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight week. We ended up fighting that Thursday at the Fountain Blue. Got a very, very, very good looking win on that card against an undefeated fighter. And then after that, it was a situation of like, my style fit what they were trying to do with boxing, they as in Dana and the Turk. And, they just wanted to move forward with, us working together in the future as far as me, the fighter, and them, the promotional team. And, I was down, once they laid everything out, it was basically real straightforward. They were like, we're going to put you in some fights. You look good. We pay good. Win, lose, or draw. We're gonna make it happen. And I was like, cool, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, no doubt. Coach Hackett, if you don't mind adding the way it looks from your eyes, I'm sure it's very similar, but as a father, trainer, somewhat of a manager, you're looking over everything. You want to make sure everything is right. As you were looking over the offer and you were looking over at the game plan that they laid out to you, was there a part of it that resonated with you mainly, that made you be like, yeah, this is it, we're gonna pull the trigger and head in the direction?
I think it was, number one, the professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the certainty of direction. I think it was the certainty of being in a situation where it wasn't up for grabs. I think a lot of fans don't understand, when you're with a promotional company for the 99%, you're a day-to-day worker. You really are truly a day-to-day. You're only as good as your last performance. And with them, it was not one of those situations. They were telling you, hey, we want you to be the best version of you every time out. If you give us that, then we want to continue to work with you. So it's all up to you on how much we work together. We know they're not under the illusion of undefeated is the only thing you can be. And I like that part. Everybody knows there are people that we've wanted to fight, and we weren't able to get them. And 9 out of 10 times it was politics. It wasn't that the fight couldn't be done. It was politics. And quite honestly, they were like, hey, you can get those fights, and you can get them with us. We're not telling you that we don't deal with boxing. We're telling you we're offering boxers another alternative. And that made sense to me. You know, at first I thought we heard everything negative dealing with, you know, Zuffa. Everything was negative. I didn't hear no positives.
Right.
And they weren't really saying a lot either. They were just saying it's coming. And they were tight-lipped because they were dealing with some things behind the scenes. I respect that. And when they started doing interviews, it started kind of making sense. When I was looking at, you know, the interviews that Dana, the Turk, Mike, that whole team was doing, they were making it make sense. They were like, hold up. We're not telling you we're getting rid of boxing. They said we want to make an amendment to a bill that's already there. If people have the logic of it, amendment means add to. It didn't take away from anything.
Right.
And so they're giving another outlet. They didn't say that the belts that are currently there were trash. They just said if you like the system where you have more inactivity than activity, where politics will control if you get a chance for a belt, where if you have a junior belt, it may put you in the rankings, it may not. If you have the interim title, that doesn't guarantee you get a title shot. You just the whole political voice, then you stay doing that. And good luck to you. You may get a title shot. But if you want a path, come over here. The path is you will get paid, but you got to fight people. You beat these people, position yourself to where you can fight for a Zuffa title. You become a Zuffa champion, then you're ranked by Ring Magazine. If you're ranked by Ring Magazine, you could get a phone call to fight on a ring card versus just about anybody. If you fight on a ring card and you beat just about anybody, you may get the phone call to fight on a React card.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a structure in which you will get paid. You know what you're going to make. You know what you could potentially make. And you know where you could go. That seemed to me a more direct route to getting to fight the guys of my son's generation than any other way possible. And that to me was the sensibility of it. They gave you guarantees. To me, it was like the NFL draft. When a guy gets drafted, he gets the phone call immediately. They say, fly here that same day. Let's get you locked in. Let's show you what we're giving you as guarantees. Let's show you what you could potentially do. Let's show you the facility. Let's get you the playbook. Let's get you acclimated. Let's get you playing. That's exactly how this process was. And they showed me they don't take days off. That's the thing I like. They don't take days off. I heard from them on Christmas Eve, and I think we actually got everything tied up on Christmas Day. You know, that showed me that these people are serious. Calling you on Christmas Day, that's everybody else wanted to vacate. They wanted to get business done. They haven't been hiding anything. Everything is transparent. We've gone through several promotion companies since we've been pro. All of them have been top-notch companies. I'm not saying one wasn't top-notch, but the only one that had transparency, a direction, and this is what's going to happen was Zuffa.
Absolutely love it, Mr. Coach Hackett. I was going to ask Jalil. So, you know, you're a big NFL fan and you're a big college football fan, right? So when you got this call, and then, you know, again, most people, you guys have to understand, especially the fighters and the managers who come on our show. This is the type of show where you could trust us so much that we've known this information from before the signing to the signing all the way to now. And we're the ones that have been pretending like, oh, we don't know. We don't. I mean, I've heard Clay flat out say, oh, I have no idea, right? When we've literally known. So you guys can't trust us. But I know for a fact, young man, that Jalil, that I want you to talk about it, but they called you and then they flew you here for a day, bro. I mean, they just talk to us about that whole experience of what it was like to get drafted per se. To Zuffa boxing.
I love the drafted analogy, by the way, by Coach Hackett. I'm definitely interested in Jalil's response to this because I know how you feel about football. So this is kind of like Go ahead though. Go ahead. I'm very interested in this response.
Yeah, nah, it was surreal. You know, like my dad said, we were finished like wrapping everything up around Christmas time. And I know during that time my dad was on vacation. Him and my mom were on vacation in Orlando. I was home, you know, just chilling with my brothers and sisters. And he had just called me. He was like, "Yeah, you should be getting an email soon, you know, just so you'll know, you know, your travel schedule and everything like that." And so I get an email, and in the email, they're like, "Yeah, you know, you're gonna fly out this day. You know, we want you to do this, and this, and then you're gonna fly home." So I'm like, okay. So flash forward, top of the year, we fly out. Well, I fly out. I get to the Apex. When I first get there, you know, we do media stuff. And I also see a lot of the other fighters that they sign. You know, a few guys fought on Zuffa 1, few guys that'll be on Zuffa 2 with me as well. Um, you know, sitting there chopping it up with those guys. Y'all with these Raiders hats, boy. Congratulations. Congratulations to
Oh,
y'all, man.
nah, man. This
Y'all
is a
finna
We
get
got
boxing
Fernando
drafted.
show.
Mendoza.
We
This is a
got
boxing
drafted.
show.
We got
Where is the
drafted.
Jalil Hackett hat? Where's the Zuffa hats at? What are we doing? Lord child, Lord
We
child.
we will be playing in the stadium. The Apex is our new stadium.
That's
Yo,
right. That's right.
We got
Jalil,
drafted.
so you flew out to Vegas. Continue. So
Yeah,
you
so
flew out.
we get to Vegas. We get to Vegas, we do media. You know, lot of, you know, interviews and whatnot. You know, the whole media run around. After that, we get a tour of the facility. Actually, during the tour, they mic me and probably about two or three other fighters up. You know, just to, I guess, for content purposes. And you know, after the tour of the facility, me and a few of the guys kicked it for a little bit. At the time, we watched SHAKUR was sparring because, you know, he has a fight coming up this weekend also. So we watched him spar, and after that, you know, we all headed back to the airport, you know, a little bit at a time because everybody's flying to different places. I know me and the guy Hot Rod, he'll be on this card
Yeah.
this weekend.
Kalotsik. Yeah,
Yeah,
Kalotsik.
I didn't want to butcher his name. Shout
Right,
out to
right,
him.
right, right.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
call him Hot Rod for sure. Yeah.
him. It's a young heavyweight that's gonna be on the card too.
Demazian Van
Yeah,
Houter. Yeah.
Mozzie. Yeah, him
Yeah.
and
By the way,
another.
salute his mother's in the chat. By the way, so salute to
Oh
Miss
yeah,
Van
shout
Houten.
out, hey, shout out to her, man. Her son cool as hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, him, another guy who was also on the card too, Marcus. He was on the card last week in Zuffa 1.
Yeah.
He took a tough loss. He'll be
Yeah.
back soon, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we all went to the airport together. We got to the airport about 3 hours early. And you know, they were flying to Tampa, I was flying to DC, but coincidentally our gates were right next to each other. So we all sat, we kicked it, we just chatted, and it was just funny. I was like, shit, this gonna be happening often now. We co-workers. So yeah, no, it was good chatting it up with them guys. But then, you know, they flew home, I flew home, and then, you know, we got straight to work from there.
Hey,
You know,
go ahead, Clay. Sorry.
like it's interesting because I know, you know, the thing about boxing with fighters, you always hear fighters talk about, you know, the thing they love about it is like it's all on you, right? The win's on you, the loss. You like not having to depend, but it does feel like, even though maybe it's a reach, but it does feel like there was somewhat of a team energy about the whole experience, right? Knowing that you had like a fraternal type of situation with brothers that were in arms almost. Like we might be fighting each other. Well, not everybody, but did that bring some comfort to it? Did it make it kind of feel even more surreal, the experience as being in that atmosphere? Did it make it feel more real that, man, you're here too? Oh man, you know, did you guys get to communicate and kind of share the experience? Did that make it a little more surreal?
I've always looked at boxing like that, even before Zuffa. You know, I tell guys, you know, when you get to a certain point, you know, it's a lot of people that box. You know, it's millions and millions of guys on box rec. And only a select few. You can probably name 1,000 fighters off the top of your head, or even if you took the time, you could probably name 1,000 fighters that you've seen. Oh, I've seen this guy fight on TV, or I know this guy pays his bills via boxing. So when you reach that point, I don't think it's really about a love and hate for a person no more, because it's all like we like a big fraternity. Guys go to college, and I ain't never been a guy that'll go to college and join a frat. But
Okay.
like those dudes that do that, they go through a lot to get in that frat. So once they get in, it's like they look at each other as brothers. So it's like this is no different. Like we're I talk to those guys like Justin Valoria, who will also be on the card this weekend. And I talk to those guys, and I honestly tell them like at the point we're at, bro, like we're in a rare air. We do what we want. Well, not what we want. We do what we love, the sport of boxing, for a living. Like this like you really get to go in that ring, showcase your talent, your hard work, and you getting paid pretty good for it. So yeah, it's a fraternity, man. Even my last fight, not my last fight, the fight before that, the fight that was on the ring card.
Yep.
The guy Elijah Vines, we still talk often. We don't talk about boxing, we talk about motorcycles and dogs, but we still talk often because it's like at the end of the day, bro, we got in there, we did what we had to do, we made our money, and we made it home safe to our families. So it's like, anything else is just free. So I
Yeah.
just take it all in, and enjoy it.
Hey Jalil, the last time we had you on the show, we spoke about that. I was there live to watch your fights with Elijah Vines, and the emotions that you showed that night. Right away, the whole arena knew you were going to be the superstar because you were so raw with it. Right, all the things you speak to about fighters having to go through what they need to go through and then be able to come home safely to their loved ones. So I remember talking to your dad often, saying this is before you guys even signed to Zuffa, saying you are the perfect Zuffa fighter. Because if you look at how the UFC is, they're all brothers in arms, even though they're all going to really try to hurt each other in the cage. They're all brothers in arms. And we noticed the Julian Rodriguez versus Sandoval fight. They went at it, and at the end, they showed both of them on the ambulance together. Right? Shaking hands and
Right.
everything. So it shows to that fraternity of brotherhood that you're talking about. Heading into this one, I know that there are names because you are moving into middleweight, right? This is the
Yes,
first
sir.
time we're going to get to see you out 160, and they just had their main event at middleweight in Calum Walsh, right? We saw the bronze medalist Misael Rodriguez is right there at middleweight. Vito Melnecki is signed at middleweight. So safe for me to say that I think they're making the middleweight division their glamour division, and you certainly are the Drake May or the Caleb Williams of this division. How do you feel knowing the competition that's in front of you now? Actually, already knowing you're going to get a chance to fight these guys.
You and I are both football guys. With the Super Bowl coming up, first off, congratulations to the both teams. Uh, but just look at it, and when you looked at the draft, the year, what was that? 20? What year was Drake May drafted? 20
2024. 24.
2024. If you look at that draft class, you don't say, "Oh yeah, Drake May's gonna be the quarterback out of this class that goes to the Super Bowl." And realistically, if you ask me, I think they're gonna win it. And, you know, the fact of the matter is, us as fans, we didn't look at him as that type of guy, but now, we look up only 2 years down the line, he's probably about to win him a Super Bowl. So I just look at it as, all you need is an opportunity. If you got somebody that's willing to gamble on you and, give you the chance, I'm not saying a handout, just give you the chance to showcase your ability, then, the cream will always rise to the top. It's guys that have had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. They've either shit the bucket or they just plain didn't show up. And it's like a lot of times I hear fans say, well, if this fighter got that opportunity, he'd do this, or if this fighter got the opportunity, he'd do that. That's Zuffa boxing. They send guys up with opportunities. You know, they not on the whole, you know, this is our guy thing. You know, they got their one guy. But yeah, for the most part, they ain't on no this our guy thing. You know, it's like, you know, we got two fighters that's about to fight each other, and the best fighter is gonna win. You know, but if it's a good fight, we bring both fighters back. Simple.
Why not? Why not? And you know something, Jalil, that is first of all, congratulations being at 160. We've talked about this before, and me and your father have talked about it. Well, we've talked about it here on the show as far as the way you're growing. You know what I'm saying? Like the way you've been growing, like since you started from the time you started your professional career to where you are now, you just been, you know what I mean? You've been doing what you're supposed to do at your age, right? Like you've been getting bigger, and 160 does seem like, do you feel like that weight division, are you resting well mentally? Like, is that weight cut easier for you at 160, do you think, at this point, as far as having to deal with that part of the game?
Physically, obviously, absolutely. But mentally, hell yeah. Because it's like, you know, if you don't know me, if I'm not in camp, I could probably be, what's my man with the fiery hair that had the food show? They used to go all around the world.
Yeah,
Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri.
Yeah.
And when I'm not in camp, people will probably confuse me for Guy Fieri, man. You know, I'm going to go to the most randomest places, and I'm going to try food. You know, I'm gonna review it and everything.
Right.
You know? So it's like, and on top of that, to double down, I'm not a little guy. I'm naturally big.
Right.
If I would have known I was gonna have this type of growth as a youngster, I probably would have never picked up no glove. Y'all probably be talking about me and Malachi Tony or something.
Hey,
Trying to figure out who's gonna be wide receiver one. But yeah, you know, so it's like that shoot up of growth came out of nowhere. But I'm definitely liking this new weight class. We did make a little pit stop at 54, but based on the trajectory, of things, how I think it's gonna go, I think we're gonna be at 60 for a while, and you know, we're gonna set up shop here.
Comfortable.
Awesome. That's awesome.
One more thing. We add just one more thing to the back end of that, right? Because there's an argument there to say that would be maybe the money division in Zuffa right now, being that their guy is Caleb, right? Like that. I mean, you know, tongue in cheek, however we want to look at it, that is the guy closest that we know of to the owner of the league. Does that feel good to be in the money division? You know, you fight, you cut the weight. You're trying to stay in the lane, right? You're trying to stay in the algorithm of where the action is at, where the money's at. And, you know, organically and naturally, 160 fits you better. And it happens to be the money division. Is there a sense of mental relief there with the idea of that?
Like my dad iterated earlier, you know, based on the way they drew things up, realistically speaking, every division is a money division with Zuffa. You know, as long as you're willing to fight, you're gonna get paid. You know, we think about young guy Robert Merriweather. Similar upbringing with me. You know, he came up under the TMT banner, wasn't really as active, and now he's guaranteed to be much more active in his career, and he's gonna get paid for it. Like, I'm not pocket watching, but he probably made more in this one fight than he made in his whole career. So it's like it's nothing but upside with Zuffa, honestly. And they're probably more than likely gonna have him back in the ring by March or April. So that's a double whammy. You know, that's double plus on Zuffa.
And Coach Hackett, that's what I want to talk to you about. Is you take a look at a guy like Robert Merriweather, who I believe he was the third fight of the preliminary card. And even with that, and there were plenty of knockouts that night, right? Omar Trinidad got a knockout. Misael Rodriguez got a knockout. But this was the young man that ended up getting an extra $50,000 for performance of the night. And I think, me and Clay had discussed this. I think one of the main reasons why Merriweather got it is Merriweather, the way he looked, he looked like a perfect boxer or someone who was on his way to looking like a perfect boxer. And those are the type of fighters that Dana and Zuffa Boxing and the team are rewarding, right? So you having to also manage Jalil on that side. How do you feel now that there's a pathway to making even more money, like Julian Rodriguez, who made well over 6 figures in his first Zuffa fight, doing exactly what Jalil does, which is, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna bust some ass, right?
Pause.
Pause. But how do you feel about that on the management side, Coach Hackett?
I think it's great. I think it's great. I think anytime that you can have young fighters not just fight, but be able to make bonuses, know when they're gonna fight. A company that wants you to fight often, one of the things that they've said is, we're not gonna hold you back. You win and you say, hey, I'm ready to go again. We want guys that really want to fight. So for me, I think it's great. I think it's great. I think they're giving opportunity to the young fighters to not just do what their dream is, but to also have financial prosperity. Where else outside of football, basketball, baseball, and soccer, where you're gonna see a kid at the age of 22 say, hey, I can have a year where I can make $500,000 or more. And they put it on paper. A lot of times these contracts, they say, we'll get you 4 fights in this much time, or we'll get you 2 fights in this much time. But they never give you numbers. The numbers aren't real. They're conceptual numbers. These people had real numbers. They had, if you do this, we're going to give you this. And one of the things that I think early in Jalil's career was the spacing out of fights hurts young fighters. It may work for older fighters. It may work for guys with titles, any of that type of stuff, but it does not work for young fighters. In order for a young fighter to build a fan base, to work on his craft, to become better, he has to be actively fighting. And that was the thing that I think was killing Jalil's career. Him and Merriweather were both, with the same promotion coming there one time, and a lot of other young fighters who haven't got that springboard opportunity. Just the fact of what you see and what they're doing now, it makes me feel different. A lot of times, who's the promoters, they're push guys. These are the guys who want to push. You'll look up, both of you all are both at the same point in your careers at the beginning, but this guy got 5 fights. You got 2. And you're like, why am I not getting these fights? And they're saying, oh no, we got a plan for you. But then you look up, he has 9. I have 4. He got 13. I got 5. And it's like their actions are saying what their words aren't saying. When you see this going on, and Dana said, I want to see guys fight. Call us, you want to fight, we'll get you even faster. We do have you on a schedule, but if you want to go earlier than that, the opportunity is there. That's what I think is helping the young fighters be able to make these decisions and say, I want to go somewhere. To me, I think having the opportunity to get in on the ground floor of something like this, I think it was an amazing opportunity. Like I said, you may have some guys that are well versed in the sport, making millions of dollars, don't want to do it. You may have new guys that say, hey, I want to stick with the traditional program. They don't want to do it. But for us, I told Jalil my opinion. He gave his feedback. We heard everything out. To me, if you want to fight, I just say this: if Jalil wants to fight the Kalen Walsh's, now it's highly probable that they're gonna fight. Not when they're 30, when they're still in their 20s. If you want to see the potential of some of the outside guys like the Xander Zayases, now this fight is potentially doable. And the reason it is because the person who controls everybody's money is involved with everybody's element of boxing. They're still doing REAC cards. They're still doing ring cards. So it ain't like Turk and all those people have said, oh, we're just not dealing with boxing. They're saying we're giving the other guys an alternative to be able to get where they want to get to without playing the game of politics. You don't have to be with this special manager. You don't have to be with this special group of fighters that hang together, and because they hang together, they all get the same company to pick them up. You don't have any of that. All that stuff is out the window. That's not boxing, that's propaganda. Now they can just stick to the boxing. Do you want to fight? You don't have to be crazy, but you don't have to be contrite. Hey, Kalen Walsh wins 2 or 3 fights. Jalil wins 2 or 3 fights. Hey, they want to fight each other. Let them fight. It could be a great fight, and neither fighter or their team is worried about, well, if one of us loses, like every fighter in boxing. Let me be clear to all the listeners. Every fighter in boxing, except for maybe the Mayweathers, the Canelos, the Crawfords, very few aren't worried about if they're going to get dropped by their promoter if they lose a fight. Every fighter. The only fighters that I have seen in combat sports who don't worry about that are UFC guys. Some of my favorite UFC guys had 3, 4, 5 losses, but they fight like hell. I'm a fan of Justin Gaethje from way back, not recently, way back. And once again, you don't have to be undefeated to be a star in the UFC. You got to be willing to fight.
Right.
If you're willing to fight, and I think me and Angelo talked about this. When Conor McGregor came into the UFC, he wasn't the man. He worked his way into being the man.
People don't talk about that, Coach. They always try to act like Conor was like treated a certain way because he was a star. No, that dude was sleeping on a couch. His girlfriend, he was struggling.
I watched this documentary. He came from the mud for real. And he took advantage of an opportunity. He knew what he could do, and he came in as the brash Conor McGregor. And if you want to be honest, look at the first 3, 4 fights he had. He was I hate to use the expression, he was the B-side.
Right.
He was the B-side.
Right.
He came in, he beat people. He did exactly that. He beat people. Once you start beating people, and I ain't never heard him say that he was looking for a job, he ain't made no money. They made him a star. He came in and said, I'll fight. I'll be a star. Rampage Jackson. Look at him. He done made movies. I think if you ask young people today, they know him as a movie star before they know him as a cage fighter.
Right.
These people are really, I hate to say it, they are laid out in the structure of an NFL team. They are laid out in the structure.
Yeah.
Coach Hackett, real quick here, because you believe it or not, you're running down. I have like questions, and you just doing.
Oh, my bad, brother. My bad.
No.
This is just
a compliment.
Like, it's like I gotta scratch that one off, scratch that one off, scratch that one off.
Clay, you're answering so many questions. Clay is marking them all off.
Like, all right. But I do, bringing that full circle, right? Bringing that full circle, I would ask that, saying everything you just said, from your perspective, what does Zuffa potentially have a chance of changing in boxing? If there would be one thing that you can say, what is it that they can change in boxing that you feel needs to be changed and could change the whole entire trajectory of the sport? Does that make sense? Like, boxing has been here for so long, and people have said it's lawless in so many ways, and we've become desensitized to it. But there really is a dysfunction about boxing up until this point that's been happening, that's gotten in the way of people like Jalil, Hackett, and all these other fighters from doing what they've earned by putting in the work in the ring. So that being said, being introduced to this business model that's active right now, if you could bring it down to one thing maybe, or a few things that can make the biggest impact and change the sport that you see with this business model?
Well, to me, I started out using the example of the NFL. And that was what it felt like when we got there. But to make the whole thing look more broader, more clear, I would say it's like the first year of NILs and the new structure of the national the national championship. Now these guys can still choose to go to Queensbury, Matchroom, Top Rank, PBC, Mayweather Promotions. They can still choose to go there. But now you have a school that's come back into the fold. This is SMU. It's like, hey, we're back. We're back. We're in the fold.
Right.
And we know how to do this because the same thing that they said we did wrong years ago is now the new rule of doing things. So if you go to Zuffa, you now have a chance at a national championship game. Whereas if you weren't part of the Power 5 conferences, you had no chance. You now have a chance to put yourself in position. If you can win a Zuffa title, it's the same as the other guys winning the WBA, WC, IBF, WBO. That's their world. That's the Power 5 world. They do their world. This is our world. Our structure, our goal is to win a Zuffa title. When you win that Zuffa title, then we're all on a level playing field because the ring top 10, they're all stuck in there somewhere. And it's not because the WBC is more prominent or the IBF. It's because the Ring magazine said these are the top 10 guys. Zuffa now plays a part in that top 10 role. So if the WBC, for instance, they say they claim the 3 spot and the WBA claims the 4 spot, so on and so forth, but Zuffa claims the 2 spot, then guess what? Now you can't avoid me if you want to win a national championship. If you want to win that ring title, you can't avoid me. If we win out, you win out, then I'll see you in Riyadh. I'll see you there, and we'll find out who was the better team. We'll find out if you were just the better name team for branding or you were the better team dealing with competition. That's the biggest thing that Zuffa's going to do. Zuffa made it where, shout out to Bam, he got richer.
Right.
Zuffa made it, shout out to Jao Bataya. He going to be able to become undisputed. Zuffa is making it where the traditional company roadblocks that were always there, they're removing them. And if you look at things that change the projection, me and Angelo were talking, and I said, Jake Paul's in the MV, he's a Hall of Famer right now. And they're like, fighting? No, not fighting. He put women's boxing somewhere that had never been in the history of women's boxing. For that alone, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Same way now. Dana White has created something that brings us closer to a concept of a league, even if those other guys aren't in it, because at the end of the day, you gotta play by the rules to get in the top 10 for the ring title. And then Turki Al-Sheikh has created a situation where we truly do now have a Super Bowl. It's Riyadh season. So now we don't have to chase Xander Zayas anymore. We chase the Zuffa title and make him chase his stuff, and we'll see you on the ring list. Now you're playing for 10 spots now. You're not playing for 1 spot. So when you get yourself in one of those 10 spots, all you're doing is waiting for the phone call and saying that you're playing for the national title, and we'll see you in Riyadh. That's what I think they've done. They've given boxing what NCAA football has every year: pageantry, conversation, and a national championship at the end of the rainbow. Whoever would have thought this year Indiana at the beginning of the season would be your national champion? But because of the Zuffa structure in NCAA football, they had the opportunity to be national champions, where 2 years ago, this would have never happened.
Right. And here we are speaking to Jalil Hackett, the main event of the preliminary card for Zuffa boxing.
I don't know. It sounds like y'all interviewing Bernard, or he's interviewing y'all.
No, I actually got a real question for you too in a second. I'm waiting on it.
I want to talk to Jalil for a second. So main event, Jalil Hackett versus Robert CRUZ. Main event of the preliminary cards, which falls at a perfect time. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific when Jalil fights. Right there on a Sunday. It'll feel like a Sunday night football game for myself. To everything that your dad is speaking, Jalil, and again, from what I understand, and you guys could feel free to fill in the gaps. The way these contracts work, very similar to when I was at the UFC, where you're going to fight at least within 5 months of each other's, meaning that worst case scenario, you're going to get a chance to fight 3 times this year, Jalil, no matter who it is, right? Usually in the UFC format, Zuffa Boxing is also going to be following it in that it's winner versus winner, loser versus loser, so nobody gets kicked out even when you lose, as your dad is spoken to. And the goal is to get the Zuffa boxing belt to be ranked in the top 10 of Ring Magazine. And that's really the big Riyadh money prize, right? For someone like you, and you're a football guy, you understand combine. How was it when you saw the facility, and did you have some of the same thoughts that even Julian Rodriguez had, where he was saying to himself, you know what, I'm moving my whole team here because they got my nutrition, they got my food, insurance, I got these hot tubs. Like, did you have some of that feeling? Am I going to have the Hacketts as neighbors here in Vegas? Talk to us about that.
It was one of the first things that kind of slipped into my mind. My dad can probably tell you, and you know, guys on my team could tell you, like, I'll be the first to tell you, like, I don't like Vegas. Cause it's like when I first turned pro, I spent a lot of time out there, but I was a minor. So it's like I'm out here just wasting my time. And like, even as an adult, I can honestly say, like, yeah, it was shit that I did before 21 in Vegas that I shouldn't have been able to do. But, you know, special privilege. But, you know, now at 20, at 22, almost 23, I'm not even interested in being around that. Like, after I fight, I'm trying to go back home. I'm trying to chill. And the worst thing ever would be fighting and then going back home 20 minutes away from where I fought. And it's still just as chaotic as the fight world. Yeah, because you know how Vegas is.
Right. But I mean, but the fact that the facility is there and your food is taken care of, that's something that doesn't lure you, because that's what Julian was saying.
It definitely lures me. It got me as far as, you know, maybe we should do camp out here.
Yeah,
it's like that. Like, it definitely got me like that. But as far as like jumping off the cliff and living there, nah, never again.
All right. Now you did get to see Shakur there. I don't know if you got to see Bud Crawford there, but you're seeing a lot of even non-signed Zuffa fighters training. Can you speak on just the overall experience of that facility? Because I think you got to work out a little bit when you were here also, at the very least for the media training portion. I know they let you do that.
Yeah, I did run into Bud. The way we ran into each other is crazy. I don't know what he got against me, man. Every time he see me, he always gotta meet me with violence. So I ain't even know he was coming, and he just, you know, we all sitting right there, me and the other fighters chopping it up, and he just straight throw me in the L. He throw me in the L. I'm like, damn. So I break out the L, you know, and he just picked me up and try and slam me on the ground. Call me he like, yeah, little ass nigga. I'm like, damn. He didn't even ask how my day was. But no, yeah, Bud's a cool dude. He you know, he congratulated me for getting with Zuffa. Just telling me, you know, stay focused, keep my head on. And you know, watching Shakur and those guys spar, it was cool. You know, the boxing world is small, so we all know each other. So, you know, it's just like catching up with an old friend.
That's awesome.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And by the way, before I let Clay go, the reason why Bud does that is because you are really big. So, you know, you're like the big guy that he wants to be like, yeah, you're not that big.
Like that sometimes, big guy. They want to tussle with you. They just want to tussle with you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? See if you know what I mean. What you been on? What you been eating?
And it's like he don't know, like, he a little bit strong. So like when he yoked me up, I ain't see him at first. I'm trying to figure out who the hell. I turn around, I'm like, man, this nigga always playing.
You already play too much, man. Damn, bro, what you doing, man? You play too much. Play too damn much. But you know, it's so funny. You said you talk about the experience in Vegas, and you talk about you used to go out there when you were younger, and you know, you basically were talking about the distractions that Vegas can offer you. And I thought that was a real mature, you know, it showed your maturity, right? Like you're growing and you're starting to value some things over other things. You're starting to become a little bit more settled in your adult thinking, right? That being said, at this point, how are you able to tell us how important structure, consistency for young fighters is at this point? Like, are you able to value that? Can you put that in perspective? And also for fighters coming up behind you, right? The younger fighters coming up behind you, that you have this, like your father said, you can count on it. There's a system. It's a clear path. There's structure there, and you're finding peace in it. How important is that for you right now at this point in your career, where you are with the experience you've had up into this point and having this moment right now? How important is it?
Man, you can't put a price on it. You know, it's priceless. You know, I just think about, you know, we're in real life now. I laugh with my older brother. Bernard got a fleet of kids, man. You know, he ain't believe in condoms back in the day.
He's active for sure. He's active.
So I laugh with my brother. I laugh with my brother that's a year older than me. He currently lives in New York. You know, he engineers and produces, he does music, but he's also a teacher at a private school there. And I laugh at him all the time because I say, bro, we're the new adults. And, you know, I have friends that are everyday working guys. You know, I have one of my best friends is an electrician. I have a lot of friends that are firefighters. And I laugh with them. I say, boy, if I'm in the fire and one of you motherfuckers bust open the door, I'm walking out. All of a sudden, I don't need help no more. It's like, no way I'm letting you save me. Yeah, so it's like, you know, we're the new adults. So it's like, with us being the new adults, you need some sort of stability. Like, you know, with this right here, I know, Jalil, you're gonna fight 3-4 times a year. In a good year, you might fight 5 times in a year. And in those 5 times you fight, you're gonna make good money. Along with the good money, it's like a job. If you do good, you get bonuses, you know? So it's like, I can realistically say, all right, I'm fighting February 1st. They're telling me you're gonna fight again in March or April. I can fight again in March or April. We have 2 good fights. I can, you know, call my dad, call my mom, or call, you know, my girlfriend. Like, hey, this summer we're gonna take a trip. You know, I let Dana and them know I'll be ready in 3 months. They say, cool, we're gonna have you fighting in 3 months. So on a week after I fight that second fight, I might take that trip, and then I might take another week off. But then that following week, I'm already getting back into the swing of things because I know I have a fight lined up in 2 months. Compared to, you know, you fighting and everything you do is last minute because you don't know when they're gonna call you for a fight. You know, I remember one time I was on a trip. I was out the country, and my dad called me. He like, yeah, when you come home, we got to start getting ready because we fighting again in April, and it was March.
Wow.
I'm like, shit. Okay, that's a bet.
All
And
right.
it's like, you know, now you cramming a whole 12-week camp into 3.5 weeks, and that's how you end up with guys looking crazy at the weigh-ins, or realistically in situations where sometimes guys miss weight. Like, you know, as of lately, people been telling me, like, my last 2 fights, they like, bro, like, you moving up, you look so good at these new weights. And I'm like, realistically, I'm only looking good because we've been having whole camps.
Right.
You know, we've been having whole camps, you know, that I ain't been getting calls on 2 weeks notice like I'm the B-side.
Right.
You know,
Right.
yeah, so that's the most important part. Structure, like I said, you can't put a price on structure.
Hey, can I mention that, you know, here you are, look at him, Clay. He's shirtless, right? He's proud of his body. You know, it's fight week. He's not even worried about making the weight. With this, we could feel it from you, how comfortable you are. We haven't even talked about the fact that you're going to be main event in front of 7 million households against Robert CRUZ, who's also 11-1, who just fought for the WBA international title. It was his first 10-rounder against a very tough undefeated Katsurakas, who I've heard through some things that he might also be signing with Zuffa. We'll see. And that guy is, he's coming too. He's also coming. And I'm mentioning this now, Jalil, because I know for a fact that the way the UFC works is they'll take someone like yourself, who's a very difficult fight. They'll offer you like 4 or 5 names, right? Then they'll go back to the other people and find out which one of those are willing to jump right now. So shout out to Robert Cruz for jumping out. For you, though, give us a little snippet as to how ready you really feel now that you've had a full camp going into being the main event in front of 7 million households this Sunday.
I felt more than ready. I'm not really a huge talker on like, yeah, this is the game plan. We're gonna do this, and that. I really like to just, go out there and just show how well camp was. And like I said, our past few fights have shown, like, I'm getting really good at, figuring guys out sooner than later. Like my dad will say, I'm not a believer in first round knockouts. But yeah, man, I look forward to going out there and showcasing in front of all the fans, and this is the beginning of something special for us.
Sure.
Anything to add, Mr. Hackett, in terms of the training camp and how, in terms of readiness? This is it. This is 7 million households main event, prime time, Sunday night. How do you feel going into this one?
Well, I've always felt honestly that Jalil is the Super Bowl for every young guy that's boxing now. I've always felt, and I've always told Jalil, be extra prepared because they know who you are, even if you don't know who they are, because this is their big night. You've been in the spotlight for a while. People have always thought you were older. People are just realizing he's only 22. They're just realizing that. So for me, I've always got on him about focus and preparation. I think now that he's feeling structure, if you think about it, I think this is our first fight officially with Zuffa. But the way I look at it, the last 2 fights have been in association with him, because it was the ring fight with Bud Crawford weekend. Then his last fight was on another Bash boxing card who was working in conjunction with them. And now we're jumping to the forefront. And if you've seen him, each one of those fights, he looked better and better because there was structure. It's structure. If you ever looked at what went on with the PBC, the first thing they would say is inactivity kills champions. Well, if inactivity kills champions, what do you think it does to a kid who's starting his career at 18 years old? That's the biggest part. What you asking about in Vegas, I'm gonna be honest with you. Vegas was never it was never an option for us when he first turned pro. Couple of reasons. Me and my wife were both employed. We both still work. God blessed us to be able to do that and provide for our kid. But like been able to provide for not just them, but to let them live their dreams. Like I said, one of our sons does music. He's doing boxing, and we're not retired yet. If and when that point comes, I think it'll come. And the fact that Zuffa is actually paying very well. For all you fighters who ain't making no money, you better hurry up and run over there if they'll take you. If they paying well like that, then to me, trying to be the type of father outside of the boxing that gives my son excellent advice, it may be to say, hey, son, you might come out better purchasing a small home in Vegas instead of wasting that money. Young people and boxers should waste some money. I'm going to be honest. You putting your life on the line. You giving up a piece of your body every time you lose weight. As a young kid, 22, if you see a couple of things out there, not outrageous where you blowing the moon, but you should be able to get. And if he does it the right way, like I tell my son, I've learned from my mistakes. You want a Benz? Either you lease it or you buy a used one. You want some jewelry? Go to Vegas. The pawn shop is full of people who made bad decisions. They got the jewelry that you want. Cut great prices at the pawn shop.
Go get you a good price. Go get you a bargain,
you can get
man.
you a Rolex out there. If you kept it before you go inside the building, he might sell it to you for $1,000. But being able to do it like that and say, hey, you might find you a house in Vegas that you can get for a more than reasonable price, especially if you have the option to put a cash payment on it. Why not get you a place out there? When you have free time in between camps or whatever, go out there. Take advantage. I'm telling them, take advantage of those facilities. You get to the point where you're down to the last couple of weeks of camp, go take advantage of it. You got to fight out there anyway. When me and my wife retire, hey, let's go. Why not? If you got to be out here, you may do your comfort part of your camp at home the first half. But then when the sparring is all wrapped up and it's just about making sure the weight is right, go out there. They got a cafeteria, eat their food. These are the logical things. Once again, I said, you're going into the NFL. You just got drafted. Here's your hat. You're with the team that drafted you. Eat their food. Use their dietitians. Do everything that they offer because they're offering it because they want to put the best product out there. You don't have none of this stuff coming from the traditional promoters because they look at you like an independent contractor. Where Zuffa looks at you like a new member to the family and you're part of the company. That's the difference. And if I could see him do that and he keep doing what he's supposed to do, Dana and the Turk and them do what they're supposed to do, Jalil may retire me earlier and say, hey, we got to be in camp. We got to do our camps in Vegas.
Give you a curfew.
Ultimately, that's what it is. Yes.
All right,
yes.
Jalil. Get your tail in the house at a certain time and have my mama in the house at a certain time. I don't want to have to keep talking to you about this, Dad.
Hey,
man. All the damn time.
Hey, they grown, man. I just know they'll catch Lil in the house quick. They catch Lil in the house quick, man. You know, if I ain't in the house with my girl, I'm in the house with my other girl. I'm in the house with my other girl.
You know what I'm
So it's like shit. I ain't really too pressed on outside. You know, let somebody tell me pull up to their spot and they got a girl in there.
Okay.
If this girl in there, then I'm in there.
Man, he live on them video games.
Hey, what are you playing right now, Jalil? What are you playing?
Right now, I'm getting back into Rainbow Six Siege. You know, it's crazy. Wow. Once again, you know, the family camaraderie aspect of Zuffa. You know, we all sitting there kicking it, talking, and I'm talking to Mozzie and Mozzie like, man, shit. Even though we was out here today, I almost brought my game with me. I was like, shit. I'm glad I ain't the only one that think like that. And so, you know, before you know it, it's about 5 or 6 fighters talking about the games that they play, and we all play the same games, and we be playing the game together. So it's like shit, you know. I ain't worried about nothing, but
Mozzie's mom said, LOL, he did try.
She said he did. Jalil did too. We had to tell him leave that game in the house.
Hey man, only thing I'm worried about is fighting, training. After I fight, I'm gonna eat me some good food and I'm gonna play my game. You know, everything else really be irrelevant.
No doubt. So look, Jalil, this one's for you, man. And this is to sum it up, you know what I mean? And we can have a great conversation, have whatever we feel like talking about. Like, we actually got fights and stuff going on. So I'd love to get into the fights that's going on this week as well. But here goes. And this is for you and your father, right? Opportunity, structure, timing. It seems like all the boxes are checked for you guys. Taking all that into consideration, right? One word to describe February 1st, 2026.
Evolutionary.
Woo! It's up. What about you, Coach Hackett? You know, you worked hard to get here, and I want you to take a moment and think about it. And you don't got to do one word, by the way. I was just testing the vocabulary skills, and of course,
hey, that was great for a 22-year-old young man right there.
I don't know
Yeah.
how many syllables in that damn word, but opportunity, structure, timing. You worked hard. They're all on the same page. Sometimes you get the opportunity, but it's not the right timing. Sometimes you get the opportunity and timing, but the structure isn't there. Jalil talked about, 3-week camps. You know what I'm saying? 4-week camps. Well, now you got, it seems like all three of those things are on the box for you. So how does that affect the vision? And what are we starting off February 1st, 2026? What is this the beginning of?
And before you answer, treat it like the NFL draft. Those guys get 2 minutes to make their pick.
Do it. Talk to I got another question when he finishes answering this one, by the way. Go ahead. I got one more actually after he answers this one. I got one more question. Go ahead, coach. Take a moment. Take a moment. Take a breath. Take a moment.
This dude, man. This dude.
These damn kids, man.
I think I knew my word way before we got to this point of conversation. Humbling.
Ooh.
I think at the beginning of Jalil's pro career, me and him, I'm not gonna say him, just him or me, we were extremely arrogant. I thought Jalil could beat anybody on this planet. I thought it was a foregone conclusion. What he had did in the amateurs, what he had did against pros as a kid. And then I found out that boxing is a business. And all of this time, I thought it was just a sport. It's a business. And the business was dictating who was going to be good, great, or not even thought of. And we went through a lot of emotional things on this ride. The Mayweather portion, I love to say, I learned a lot from Leonard Ellaby, and I learned a lot from watching Floyd. That was the perfect size shoe, but it didn't fit our foot. We went to Matchroom, and Matchroom showed us what the possibilities could be. But we got there either a little too soon or a little too late because they had a blossoming star in Jerron Boots Ennis. And I like to say shout out to Coach Bosey for always thinking of us.
Right.
Now we got to the Matchroom, to the Zuffa point, and you came in with apprehension, but they put everything to bed by putting everything on paper and showing that we wouldn't like you here. We want you here by calling on Christmas Day and making this happen. And at the end of all of that, the only thing that I was able to be was humble. And I hope that that is something that will remain with me and my son as we go through this, because they didn't put an ad out in the paper for Zuffa fighters. They went and picked guys that they wanted. And I think that that's the biggest thing I take away from this. You're not somewhere where they advertised and they were looking for bodies. You're somewhere where they went looking for quality over quantity, and they picked you. So you should feel humbled, just like one of those gentlemen who hear their name called by the commissioner, and they walk up there and get their, and they know they're part of a special fraternity.
You know, I want to flip it back to Jalil real quick because you had an opportunity to kind of elaborate on that, and that was excellent, by the way. But for you, Jalil, you said evolutionary, right? You said evolutionary, and then yes, I'm not a big dictionary guy, but that I think of evolve, right? It speaks on a journey, right? And this February 1st seems to be part of a journey for you, and this part of the journey, this chapter in your book, you're calling it evolutionary. Do you care to elaborate on why that word and why that's significant for February 1st for you?
Because like my dad said, over time, our career has changed and evolved, and it started off one way, and you get to a certain point, things change, and then they change again. And it's, you know, it's all about my whole evolution, you know, my whole growth process. You know, I just think about it where, you know, you and I, we had a talk on the show before where I tell you my whole journey of last year, the whole roller coaster it was from, you know, losing my belt to, you know, serious alcohol and drug problems, you know, to finally like realizing how deep in a hole I was to, you know, slowly but surely climbing myself out the hole. And I still to this day look at myself as climbing out. You know, I don't never say, "Oh yeah, I'm perfect. I'm healed. I'm great." Like, nah, I'm forever, you know, working on myself, forever growing, forever developing. And every once in a while you have those huge milestones in your life. And this is just one of those huge milestones. And it's a huge change for me. And you know, a synonym of change is evolution. So, you know, that's why I use that word.
Beautiful word, beautiful word. Now I want this for the father and son, the dynamic, because that was hilarious, by the way. I've gone through that with my son, where my son is like, "Damn, dad, bro, come on, wrap it up. What a wrap it up, but and get it together, right?" But I think it's just knowledge. After a while, you live so much life, you just know how to articulate yourself, and it can come out that way. But that being said, what's the hardest conversation you two have had with each other during this whole journey, during this whole entire boxing journey, right? What do you think the most difficult conversation you guys have had with each other? I'm gonna start with Jalil. I want Jalil to start this one off. It might be
honestly, the constant conversation, like I just said, life's all about growth. The constant conversation has always been consistency, and that is bigger than boxing. That is one of those things that doesn't even go about boxing. That goes about life. You know, for as long as I can remember, my dad said, you know, same guy you are on Monday, you got to be that guy on Friday. You know, and the same guy you are January the 1st is the same guy you got to be December 31st. You know, you know, if they don't know who to expect from day to day, then it's hard to deal with you. And you know, I've just been working on that, trying to stay actively cognizant of being consistent. You know, the past two fights, you guys have gotten very great performances from me. You know, and I told you guys we've had very great camps for those fights. You know, this fight right here, we've had a very great camp. I look forward to another very great performance. And I just gotta credit that to my dad because, you know, he just has always pounded on consistency. You know, if you run 3 miles a day and you get to the point where 3 miles a day becomes so easy that you all of a sudden say, "Yeah, I'm going to change it to 6 miles." And the one day you change it to 6 miles, you do it one day, but then the next day you don't run at all. You ruined your consistency right there. You should have just stayed at 3 miles a day. You know, so that's all that I feel like that's been the biggest argument. And as I get older and I mature, and nowadays I feel like I do better with listening to him to understand and comprehend what he's saying compared to listening just to respond. You know, a lot of times us younger people, and I still tend to do it from time to time, you know, we don't listen to comprehend, we listen to respond. So you know, listening and understanding what's being told to me. I tell my nephew all the time, don't think about how I said what I said, think about what I said. You know, so it's like, you know, that's been the main thing, just you know, being consistent.
Now, Coach Hackett, before you answer that, I want to say, first off, my son is about to be 22 years old in about 3 weeks. And to hear a 22-year-old young man speak about his father the way he just did, I know you hiding a little tear. I know you're hiding a little bit of tear in there. You're walling up, but wow. Wow. But
right.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah, there's got to be a part that be like, "Damn, that boy listen." Because I know
Nah,
sometimes
hey,
you want
it's real. Like
every now and then you like to hear that because it's like, "Oh God, that boy listening to something." Okay, all right.
It's really real. Like I listen to a lot of old music with my dad. in Tupac's song. In Tupac's song, he said, "Yeah, we might fight amongst each other, but you piss us off, we gonna get on your ass."
Yeah.
Like I tell people all the time, I fight with my father every day. But one thing I do know in the back of my mind is if we have 100 fights, he was right about 90 things.
Right.
So it's like shit. And don't come between us fighting. Cause we
Right.
gonna stop fighting and get on your ass. And we gonna
Facts.
keep fighting again later.
Yeah.
Facts.
Facts.
Go ahead, Coach Hackett.
No, it's so funny that he started off with that. Yeah, it's funny. Last night around maybe 2 a.m. I don't know what time it was, about 2 a.m. He be up when I'm asleep. I love my bed. He said he sent me a text and he said, "Love you and Ma so much. Kiss her for me. Then go look in the mirror and kiss yourself." He's getting it. And one thing I used to always say, and I'll continue to say it, every basketball coach loves a guy that can get 20 and 10. He is the coach's favorite. But you got to remember, the assistant coaches who got to look at the stat sheets, they say, "Coach, you have two guys that give you 20 and 10, but only one of them can touch the floor." And he says, guy number one gives me 20 and 10 in the first half, and he fades away. Guy number two, he gives me 5 points, 2.5 rebounds, guaranteed every quarter. Now, as a coach, you have to figure out which guy I put on the floor. I think in the beginning, me and Jalil were putting guy number one or number two on the floor. That's just what we did. We didn't realize as a coaching staff, because he has to coach himself as well as me, we got to figure out how to make that position give us the right 20 and 10. So we realized that we had a guy who was guaranteed for 20 and 10 in the first half. We play him the first half. But then we got another guy who could give us 20 and 10 over 4 quarters, 2 rebounds, 5 points. He was what we needed in crunch time because we could depend on him in the second half for 10 points, 5 rebounds. Now we didn't think about which guy should be on the court. We thought about how we get the most out of the position. And when we did that, each guy gave us 20 and 10, but the position gave us 30 and 20. And when we started looking at it like that from the position as opposed to the guy, things got better. I know Jalil likes to eat. And I want to shout out one particular guy. I know Jalil probably want to shout out another one. I want to shout out Mike Dolce. Mike Dolce is a monster at making you understand the methodology of making weight. And we've taken some of his stuff and we've added it to ours. So the best of both worlds allows him to eat. But when it's time for us to remove the weight, the best of both worlds allows us to do that. So that's my take on it.
And speaking of eating, Jalil, I promised you when we were talking, I have to be after Sunday, but we go into that Filipino empanada place, brother.
Hey, I'll make sure we make it happen, man. I'll make sure we make it happen.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man, for sure. He's been killing me about this Filipino spot too. So when I get out there, I can't wait to say.
And I know crazy thing about I know it's probably fire. I know it's probably fire, man.
Fat boy at heart, bro. Look at him. He's like he anticipating. He said, "Boy, I just got this feeling. It's fire."
Yeah, he keep bringing it up. He keep bringing it up. Like my last fight, I fought in LA, and I got a lot of friends. Friends that go to USC, friends that go to UCLA. Friends that just are genuinely from Los Angeles, and they all commonly agreed on this one spot. When we pull into the parking lot, I'm like, it's no building. They like, yeah, it's a bunch of trucks and a bunch of tents and shit. And so I'm like, oh, I know this shit probably about to be banging. Just off of that right there. And so we get right there and they like, yeah, you can go to any one of those you want. They all make different shit. You know, some of them, for the most part, you're going to probably get you a burrito and a drink.
Right.
And so we get right there. I'm looking and I say, yeah, I'm going to go to that one. They don't speak English. So I know that shit's about to be hard. And I go right there and I probably had one of the best burritos I ever had. And they had these little homemade watermelon drinks. That shit was good as a motherfucker, man.
Yeah,
So,
boy, I know it was. See, you've been
yeah,
in the game so
I'm
long. You know how
knowing
to
the
find
way,
it.
the
You know
way,
how to
the
find
way.
the good one. You know what the attributes are. Like, you know,
Talking,
that's the
man,
one
I
I
know
want
this
every
shit
time.
about to be. I know this shit about to be crazy. I know it's about to be crazy.
You know
And
how
I
to
always
find it.
tell people, I say, hey, I'm not a picky eater. So in the event that I don't like nothing that the place that you presented offers,
Yeah,
you're never allowed to recommend no food spots to me again.
facts.
Never again.
Facts. Awesome. That is awesome, man. I don't know, man. I want to get into some boxing, man. I want to get into some boxing. So, how do you guys feel like giving some takes, man? Y'all in the mood?
Hey,
Sure.
we got training in probably about another hour, but hey, come on.
No,
Yeah,
we gonna be quick.
we're gonna be done in like 20 minutes. So
Yeah,
Yeah, shoot.
we got
Let's
a lot of
go.
we got a lot of fights coming up this weekend, man. I'm just gonna hit you with the main ones. You know what I'm saying? You just let me know what you think about them. And I'm, already I'm gonna end with the TEOFIMO and the SHAKUR fight. But let's start off with Xander Zayas, your potential. This guy was a guy you were in a conversation with. I mean, now you're at 160, but I'm sure he'll be at 160 in due time. Getting ready to go for a unification here against Abbas Baharu, right? First title defense, he goes right into a unification. Speak on that fight and how do you see that fight going with what you know about both these gentlemen?
My inside man says that Xander's gonna stop Abbas. My inside man, my
Write that
mole
down.
says
You
he's
write
gonna
that
stop
down.
Abbas. I don't think he's gonna stop Abbas. I think he's gonna beat him, but I don't think he's gonna stop him. But I definitely think that's a step in the right direction for him towards, potentially becoming undisputed at 154. So hats off to him, and in a perfect world, I see him soon at 60.
Yeah, no doubt. So we're going Xander on that one. The next fight, in the same division, right? We're gonna stay at 154 right now. We're gonna go over into the UK across the pond, and Murtazaliev, Bakram Murtazaliev, finally gets an opportunity. He'll be defending his title against Josh Kelly. I don't know what you know about these two fighters, but what are you thinking going into this one? How you see it happening?
I think Bakram is a very heavy-handed puncher, so it'll be really a cat and mouse game. I've only seen Josh Kelly fight a few times, but I don't take Josh Kelly as the type of guy that'll get hit with some shit from, Bakram and stay there.
Right.
So yeah, I'm picking Bakram for that one by knockout.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Let's go into a spicy one right here. This one got got some spice behind it. On the back end of Andy Cruz losing to Raymond Mortala, KEYSHAWN Davis celebrated as if he had the win. Put a lot of pressure on him. We know KEYSHAWN Davis coming from a situation in Virginia, missed weight on the scale, lost his title. He's debuting at 140 pounds on the undercard of Shakur Stevenson versus TEOFIMO Lopez. He's going to be going at JAMAINE ORTIZ. With all that being said, going into this fight, how do you anticipate the return of KEYSHAWN Davis? What kind of performance are you looking forward to see? And of course, who wins this fight?
I'm very anxious and to see like what performance he puts on. Because he was very emotional at the Andy Cruz fight. That was a fight that I was looking forward to seeing, but obviously it just moved up. But yeah, I think he's gonna put on a very good performance against Ortiz. You never know. Maybe Andy's the type of guy that'll chase a fighter. Maybe Andy chases him up to 140 and they fight. But as far as his fight goes this weekend against JAMAINE ORTIZ, I think KEYSHAWN beats JAMAINE. And future prediction, KEYSHAWN, if he looks good against JAMAINE, like I think he's gonna look in the future, if Andy were to go up and fight him at 40, hey, is a big difference between a 3-round fight and a 12-round fight. So, I think KEYSHAWN might get at him in a 12-rounder.
No doubt. The main event. This is the big one right here, right? SHAKUR Stevenson's been working his whole career to get this opportunity to get the signature win on his record to shut down all the doubters, all the detractors. TEOFIMO LOPEZ been a very choppy past 2 years, a lot of up and downs, a lot of emotional outbursts, awkward situations, him saying crazy things. But listen, man, he took one. He signed a contract and he got a big fight in front of him with SHAKUR Stevenson, who's going to be going up in weight to challenge TEOFIMO LOPEZ for a WBO title and a lineal championship, a Ring Magazine lineal championship on the line here. Maybe even in the conversation for the face of boxing, whoever wins this fight in the conversation, right? We can all have our picks. Talk to me going into this fight. What you looking at? What you looking for? And who you got winning?
I think this fight is a situation. I think it's a relatively easy fight to pick if you really take a deep dive into both fighters. I think it's a fight of good counterpuncher versus better counterpuncher. And I think SHAKUR is the better of the counterpunchers. You know, everybody think it's gonna be one of those fights where, oh yeah, TEOFIMO's gonna have to apply a lot of pressure to, you know, make SHAKUR uncomfortable, similar to the Zepeda fight. But honestly, number one, SHAKUR's not stupid. SHAKUR let us know that he will not be fighting like that again. You know, because although that fight was probably the most entertaining fight of SHAKUR's career, it was a very dumb fight. He could have boxed him way easier than that and got an easier win. But, you know, feeding into what the fans saying, you know, even his daughter said, Daddy almost got knocked out.
Daddy, so trying to be real with a daddy. Like, I just gotta keep it real with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, nah. So this fight, I think he's definitely gonna go in there trying to win, not trying to impress no damn fans. And I think he wins a boxing match. And most people are saying, you know, like I'm saying, that TEOFIMO has to make it rough to win. That's not TEOFIMO's game. Anytime TEOFIMO has attempted that, he's looked very bad. You know, just think about the fight with Kambosos. You know, he tried to get rough with Kambosos. That's what Kambosos does. Therefore, Kambosos, you know, just was the better man at being rough and making it look ugly. You know, he when he's boxing, he looks good. When he's trying to do anything other than box and counterpunch, he looks bad. But he's just in a situation where he's in there with a guy who's a better counterpuncher than him. So I think SHAKUR gets a nod.
All right.
All right.
Here comes the last one, though. Here comes the biggest fight potentially of the weekend here. You got a young and up-and-coming contender who's been through an up-and-down roller coaster in his career. He's been looking for these opportunities. He hasn't been able to find these opportunities. Well, on Sunday night, February 1st, he debuts on the new boxing platform called Zuffa Boxing against a fighter named Roberto CRUZ. Tell me what you're thinking about going into this fight and how do you think this one ends?
This one ends in an amazing fashion. I really can't put words to it, honestly. Like, growing up, I watched the WWE, and Zuffa owns, you know, WWE and all that shit. So it's like, they want a show, they're gonna get a show. Like, it's gonna definitely be on some Jeff Hardy from the top of the stadium shit.
To the table?
Yeah, I'm talking steel cage match.
Woo!
He almost out the cage, and he looked down, and he jumped right down, swanton bomb onto his opponent. And he still ended up barely making out of there, calling out when crowd go crazy. One of them type nights, man.
Man, I love it.
Let's do it, man.
I love it. Now, Mr. Hackett, Coach Hackett, I'm gonna flip it on you a little bit with the fights happening this weekend. So, as you know, one of the great things the Paramount Plus and CBS has been pushing over and over and over again is the idea of combat sports weekend. And on Saturday night at Sydney, Australia, we have UFC 325, one of the most anticipated rematches between Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopez, one of the fights of the years in 2025. This is a title defense for Volkanovski. I know you know your UFC, Mr. Hackett, so give it to me. Who you picking? Who you picking?
I'm excited.
UFC 325?
I'm excited.
And the new.
Oh!
And the new.
Oh!
Yes, Diego by submission.
Oh, man. Wow.
Diego by
By
submission.
submission.
He ends the fight. We don't need
Hey,
the judges.
rear naked choke. Rear naked choke.
Go get a drink. Go get a popcorn. Go get some drink. We won't need you for this fight.
You know what? Mr. Hackett, I think the odds for that is a good bet. For you guys that don't know, Alexander Volkanovski might be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, 145-pound champion out there. He reclaimed that title against Diego Lopez in Mexico, I believe it was, or in San Antonio, right? So you're saying it's going to be flipped. You're saying Diego Lopez is going to go into his hometown and he's going to get submitted in his own hometown. Wow, that's amazing. That is
rear naked choke for the win.
Wow. Now, how about I know that the rundown of days, it starts in the morning. Your thoughts on Bakram versus Kelly. Who do you think wins that one? Bakram, easy. All right. And then we got of course, Xander well. Abbas Baru, Xander in Puerto Rico. Who do you got that one?
Xander, 12-round decision, unanimous.
Okay, 12-round decision, unanimous. And then heading into that night, there are so many fights. And one of the ones that Clay didn't ask, but I want to know from you is Shushu Carrington. Does he show us, or is this the moment where we find out maybe he's not as good as we thought he is?
Shushu that good. Shushu that good. I think Sean. Yeah, he's taking advantage.
I like Shushu. I think it's gonna be one of them welcome to the Shushu show moments.
Okay, welcome.
He gonna introduce him. He gonna introduce himself to that division. Not only will he become a world champion at that division, but he will show he's there to stay.
All right. Now KEYSHAWN Davis, a lot of talks about the controversy with him, and Jermaine Ortiz, who we all know is no joke. Who do you got on that one, Mr. Hackett?
KEYSHAWN by stoppage.
Ooh, okay. All right. Gonna stop him. Oh, stop. I like that. Coach Hackett. Bold, just like his Diego Lopez pick. And then finally, Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. Number one, do you think it will be an exciting fight? Because a lot of people are worried that it might be a snooze fest, as they're calling it. And who do you pick on that one?
Bobby Fischer by boredom. 12-round decision, unanimous.
Oh, wow. So you're just saying Shakur's going to do his thing. Okay.
Yeah. Shakur Stevenson, Bobby Fischer will give us a snooze fest, but he know how to win them.
All right. Now, I want to give a rundown again this Sunday, starting at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Zuffa Boxing on Paramount Plus for free. If you have it already, get it. If you don't, it's only $8.99. So pull out your wallet, you cheap mother. No, just kidding. So we're starting the card off with Jamar Talley, who was actually on the same card as Jalil when I watched it back in September for the Terrence Crawford card. He'll be fighting at cruiserweight, which I found interesting. It looks like Zuffa Boxing may be in the cruiserweight business, which is great. Jamar Talley will be fighting Devontae Williams. And then Maserati, Van Houter. I hope I'm saying that right now. The Mazion, Maserati, Van Houter. Next fight after that's fighting Julian Gomez. Then we have a 147 prelim. Damoni Kato Kane versus Christian Perez. And then Justin Valoria, who was also on Jalil's card back in September. Justin Valoria versus Oscar Perez, two undefeated fighters. I think that one's going to be a banger at 135 pounds. And then we have the main event, Jalil Hackett versus Robert CRUZ. Both 11 wins, 1 loss. This is their moment. Main event, Zuffa Boxing, 7 million households. Coach Hackett, how do you see that fight going?
Honestly, the way Jalil been working, way he been training, the great sparring we got. Shout out to great sparring partners who work with us. I got Jalil in the stoppage somewhere around 7 or 8.
Let's get it. This is a 10-rounder, right? 10-rounder?
Yes, it's a 10-rounder. It's a 10-rounder. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and then of course, guys, and the main card, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's gonna roll out with Hot Rod Kolodzic versus the former 175-pound champion Alexander Vosnik. I think that's gonna be a great, yeah, that's gonna be a great fight. And then you got the next one, which Max Kellerman inadvertently said it was going to be a war, but with no pun intended. You got the Russian Radza Butayev, the former 147-pound champion, against the Ukrainian Serhey Bochuk, but they're both fighting at 160 pounds. So this will be very, very, very interesting. We watched Bochuk lose a Terrence Crawford week against Brandon Adams, but he's getting to fight at 160, so there might be a difference there. And then Butayev, the last notable fight we saw him here in the U.S. was against Stanionis in an absolute war, right? So Butayev is definitely young enough to bring that. That's the co-main event of the main card. And then Rayo Valenzuela making his Zuffa boxing debut. 14 wins, 3 losses against a very tough power punching 22 win, 1 loss Diego Torres. I think that's a great main card, right? That they'll be promoting a lot, by the way, on Saturday night along with the UFC. So any thoughts on that at all, Mr. Hackett, this being the main event?
I think the card is great from top to bottom. You have quality all across the board. You have very fair matchups. Like I said, the B side is the guy that loses because there's no A or B in any of those fights. Those are all great fights.
Yes, sir.
It's awesome.
Yes,
that's awesome. Guys, man, I appreciate you guys coming up here, always building with us, man. I hope we continue this relationship we're working on here, and hope this is always going to be a platform that offers you an opportunity to speak your truth and you know what I'm saying, always hold you guys up with the highest regards, man.
And we do want to thank you for letting us be the first interview that you gave us to talk about your new relationship with Zuffa Boxing and Dana 100%. White and TKO. Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for having me. Appreciate y'all for, such a great platform. We're going to give y'all a hell of a performance come this Sunday, February 1st, live on Paramount Plus. Make sure y'all tune in.
I'm calling the fight, so I'm letting you know.
Make sure you got your popcorn, man.
50K.
Get
50K
your drinks
right here.
Get your drinks, man. We're gonna have us a jolly good time, man. We're gonna put on the show, boy.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you guys. Salute to all you guys, man. Team Hackett in the building. Salute to Team Hackett, Coach Hackett, Jalil Hackett, man. You guys, man. We appreciate you guys, man. Until the next one, man. Hey, that was a good one, Reyes. That was a good one, man. Good time, right?
Yeah, oh man, we got to really cover a lot, right? Claymore, like that all the things that we've known about, and even Mrs. Van Houter. I hope I'm saying this right. By the time we get you guys, she's gonna get us. We're gonna get them in next week after Mozzie does his thing on Sunday. Julian also, but she was saying that she started watching our channel because we were talking Zuffa so much, right? And as you know, Clay, in the space, we're known as the guys who were like, "Oh, you're all fun." But the fact of the matter is, all the fighters have been. All we did was listen to them. All we did was listen to every single person that were signing these contracts, coming here to Vegas, taking this trip, and now, right? And now, you're finding out what we've always been saying. Okay, and Mr. Hackett himself said it. So that was a fun interview with the two, and I got so many comments on the chat saying this is how a father-son duo in boxing should be.
That's a serious fact, Angelo. I mean, that's what I was loving. That's what made me ask that question towards the end when Jalil was like, okay, 2 minutes of that, you know what I mean? And I understood, you know what I mean? Because, both of them are so they articulate themselves so well and express. When you ask them a question, they're going to give you an all-around answer, and they're going to, elaborate into what fueled the answer. And that's what we want, right? As content creators, as people in the space, we want those kind of explanations. But you did see that dynamic is there, man. There was space there for Jalil to grow in that relationship. He's grown into his own man. He has his own mentality. He's had his own experiences. He's matured in an organic way, and he's been able to, you know, look back and see his father's guidance and how that translated in reality in his life and be like, damn, that, like he said, 90% of the things we've argued about, you know what I'm saying, he was right about. But more importantly, the father knew to take his hands off his son and allow his son to grow, to experience, to go out there and take risk and be his own man. And when you look at all these father-son collaborations and these dynamics that we look in the boxing space, this is definitely a refreshing thing to see a father and son operating this way.
Yeah, no, and you could tell that they're very very tightly wound, and both are humble, but at the same time you can feel that there is a winner's mentality when they speak, right? And I believe you can live in the space of combat sports. You can be both humble and still have the belief that you can beat everybody. and those two is just a perfect example of how you should follow it. I know that Mr. Hackett up there, Coach Hackett, they have a lot of up and coming young people too. I don't want to say too much because they're still getting their legs, but don't be surprised about some of the other fighters that Coach Hackett is training that you'll probably see honestly on Zuffa Boxing going near the end of 2026 and 2027. I think he spoke a little bit about the sparring partners that Jalil's been getting. So I'm excited, Clay. So let's do your predictions before we wrap it up. Zuffa Boxing, you're going to be calling it on Sunday. Again, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Claymore Rain. Make sure you guys come to the YouTube. The best in the business when it comes to calling the fights. I don't know yet if I will be in the arena. I will let you know, Clay, if I am or not. Let's go with Jamar Talley versus Devontae Williams. Who Jamar Talley's 5-0 cruiserweight. Remember, again, he fought the opener on that underdog series and the same one that Jalil was in. Again,
we're talking about the Zuffa card right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Jamar Talley like that.
Okay.
I know he's favored. In the fight. Honestly, I think for me, I'm going to be learning a lot about. That's one thing about Zuffa, right? They're going to be pulling up boxers that you haven't seen in a long time or you haven't ever seen. I mean, young prospects in their own right. So I'm going to be learning a lot about these fighters as I'm going through it. Obviously I'm familiar with anything from the main event and the prelim card all the way up to
no problem.
The main event itself, anything on that card. I'm trying to see if there's anybody I know.
So here's what I got. The first one, Jamar Talley, he's athletic enough. He's got good jabs, good, understands range, but his performance was lackluster on the underdog series. So this is a chance for him to really show out against Devontae Williams, who's 13 wins, 3 losses. Maserati, man, I'm really looking forward to. The minute I heard he was with Zuffa, that kid, I'm looking forward to seeing that. That might be a 50K right there, knockout. So definitely picking Maserati.
Where's I don't see Maserati on this card.
He's the second. He's the second fight. You got to look at the Zuffa poster that's on the Zuffa boxing.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen Maserati fight before on MVP, man. Beast.
Yeah, beast.
Young, tall, reach, power.
Yep. Power.
I mean, he's checking all those boxes, man.
Yeah.
I'm expecting him to have that kind of performance and probably be one of the breakout heavyweights, if not a future heavyweight champion in Zuffa. They're going to develop that kid into something that's going to be a problem for all the heavyweights in boxing. How old is he?
21.
Yeah, bro.
21, bro.
He's going to be a problem.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem. So looking forward to that. Kato Cain versus Christian Perez. That will actually be interesting. That's very 50-50. I'm not sure yet who I'm going to pick. And Justin Valoria, who's 11-0 at 135 pounds, fighting Oscar Perez, who's 14-0. That's going to be a very, very, very 50-50 matchup. So I'm leaning Justin Valoria on that because I watched how good he looked on the underdog series. And then other than that, you already know the main events, Clay. So your thoughts on the main before we start closing this out?
I'm gonna fly through them because I gotta go. I really do gotta go. It's that time for me. Obviously Jalil Hackett, Roberto Cruz. Listen, man, Jalil said he's gonna jump off the top of the cage and land and swan dive into into his opponent, who's going to be sitting on the table. That being said, I'm going with Jalil Hackett for this one. I like the stoppage, but this one right here is going to be a competitive fight. Both fighters coming in 11-1. You know, Roberto Cruz took his first loss in his last fight for somewhat of a title. So I'm expecting that to be a real good fight, a real good dance partner for Jalil Hackett, but I got Jalil Hackett taking that win. With Hot Rod versus Alexander Voznik. Listen, Alexander Voznik, that guy, you know, we remember him for what he did with Artur Beterbiev. And then we also, of course, remember what he had going on with David Benavidez. Seems to be on his way out the door somewhat to me, just kind of like long in the tooth, maybe taking it a little too far. I don't know. This fight, the age might catch up with him in this fight right here. Hot Rod is not too far behind him, but Hot Rod seems like he has more of a career in front of him. He'll be boxing. He'll be using that slickness, sitting on that jab, using that reach. He'll stay away from Voznik and take advantage of Voznik's lack of athleticism. You know what I'm saying? That's left in him because he's old. And I'm going to give Hot Rod this fight. We'll see what happens. Serhii Bohachuk versus Butayev. Listen, man, Bohachuk has been looking for an opportunity to do things. Some people say he got cheated in that Virgil Ortiz fight. He got in the ring with what's my guy's name? Brandon Adams. Derailed him a little bit. It seems like he's always been there. I mean, we've seen him with Ishmael Davis as well. Have a great performance there. He got derailed, though, more importantly, by Brandon Adams. So this one right here, man, I think Bohachuk is his time, man. I think he's had some bad timing, some bad opportunities with Brandon Adams, just having to be somebody who really knows who he is, and something about those relationships when you fight somebody who just has your card. Brandon Adams probably checks the boxes of one of those kind of fighters. Butayev is a great opponent. Oh man, I'm gonna go with Bohachuk on this one, man. I think it's his time, man. I think it's his time. But Butayev is a soldier as well, man. Very interesting though, the whole Russian-Ukraine thing going on behind this one, man. That kind of puts a little bit of spice on the end of it. Jose Valenzuela versus Diego Torres Nunes. Bro, I'm telling you, bro. I don't know. Jose might get clipped in this one, bro. I'm gonna be real with you now. I don't even lie to you, bro. This one right here, I'm definitely 50-50 on. I don't know who wins this one. I mean, I think the name on the page is Jose Valenzuela. Everybody knows who Rayo is because of the fight he had with Eastside Pitbull Cruz, or you know, the great knockout of the year candidate he had against Chris Colbert. But we've seen him get exposed with Gary Antoine Russell, and we know that he's not one-dimensional, but he's not multi-dimensional as much as maybe two-dimensional, right? We know he can be slick if he's motivated to. He's not going to be coming in the ring with Robert Garcia this time around. He has he's going back with his old trainers he was working with in Seattle, so he switched again. He went from Jose Benavidez to Robert Garcia. Now he's with another coach. I don't know, man. It's a lot of moving around, you know what I'm saying? And Diego Torres is a live dog. This fight's probably going to be the fight I'm looking forward to seeing the most, even though I want to see Jalil Hackett do his thing. I think as far as competitive, I think people are sleeping because they're not too familiar with Diego Torres. Don't be shocked. Keep your eyes on this one, right? This one right here might be fight of the night. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say fight of the weekend. But I don't know. He's got a lot of fucking people to compete against this weekend. It's gonna be a crazy weekend. Shout out to HLD1 with the $5. Says, damn, I missed out on dropping a super chat on the Hacketts to beware of Amari Jones. We on the hunt 2027. Yeah, man. Amari might need to make a move. I don't know, man. Some fighters out there who might consider Zuffa, man. I don't know. Check the interview out. And make a phone call and see if they got a fit for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the rest of you guys, you know, again, when we're doing an interview, we're so focused on the interview. If you want one of your questions to show up, man, do a super chat. You guys do that at the hangout spot. Stop being so cheap at ATP Combat Media, man. You want your question up, go put it in the super chat. And if it's a proper question, we'll let it go up.
Proper.
Word.
What's good, Ray?
Chilling, man. Listen, I couldn't wait to jump in here. Don't get me wrong. Great show, man. I was listening in at the same time I was debating HLD. You know what I mean? It's just so funny I could do two things at once. But in all seriousness, man, it was a great conversation you guys had. Great questions. I'm with you all the way, Clay. I'm going with Voznik on that fight, man. I don't think Hot Rod. I do see the Torres fight. I think Jose Venezuela, he's going to be weight drained. I think he's a natural 140 pounder.
That too.
I think the weight drain is going to hurt him, and I think that I do see the Serhii Bohachuk, and I kept looking at the Russian flag too while I was looking there. Yeah, do Russian. I just never put the message together in my head. It's just something that's just drawing me to that. So yeah, I'm going with Bohachuk on the rebound, and I follow the everything else from the bottom up. I'm definitely with that.
It's about that
All
time,
right.
though.
But yeah, absolutely.
No, I ain't gonna lie, man. I really gotta go, man. You know me, I'll drag it, but I gotta go.
No, you gotta get out of here, brother.
Salute to you guys, man. I appreciate it, man. Reyes, man, great interview. We did a good job today, huh, Reyes?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Good job. We did a good job. A lot of conversation, man. Those guys are great to interview, man. I hope the future interviews we have are willing to share like those guys are, man. Wishing them the best, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hey, man. Hit the like button if you forgot to do it. I didn't tell y'all to do it, but that don't mean you ain't supposed to do it. So do it if you ain't do it now. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, man. Until the next one, you already know how we carrying it. Hey, Reyes, at this point,
we out, man. Come on, bro.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new